against the Tutsis. President Kagame led the country in the commemoration and spoke candidly about those criticizing his quest for another term in office. He spoke exclusively to our very own Kigali-based correspondent Eugene Anangwe, where he addressed a number of issues, including the upcoming Rwanda presidential election scheduled for August the 4th. Here is part of that conversation that was televised live through our partner station, Rwanda TV.
As the leader of the RPA and your battalion and all those who worked hard to ensure that Rwanda is what it is today, that spirit lives on. What would you expect from people like Dr. Kayumba and others, and Rwandans in general?
But I think Kayumba and the other friend, the colleague who is here, we're giving a background, a context. I think this is useful. They're shedding light to where we are coming from. And some of the things that happened at the beginning. And the other was talking about how, actually this is not just possibly confined to Rwanda. There are so many things that happen or have happened that other African countries are experiencing and are going through. And therefore maybe one thing land here, another thing land somewhere else. Should always come together to free the Africans. I think they are giving a good context. Therefore, the liberation we're talking about, or the young people, the 23-year-old now, the 23-year-old has not had this burden. The others have carried who were there before them. So that's on the positive side, I mean, at least as far as they're affected directly. But when they are 23, when they are 22, or even 18 and so on, Kayumba said he was 18 when he was in secondary 2 or something. Then these young people start interpreting the very things that are happening to them, the lives they're living with their families, with their parents, and so on. Then they start connecting with even the life before that, before they were really born.
Yes.
Somebody who did not witness or experience the effects and after effects immediately after genocide will start wanting to learn history, what has happened before.
Yes.
Because today we are dealing with some of those things that originate from that time. I'm sure, I mean, in Rwanda, there are many people who have lost friends, family, and so on. And others are just orphans, they don't know their parents. And they will say there must be questioning. Say, where did our parents go? What happened to them? So they are learning.
They learn.
Yeah, absolutely. They learn. And the more they learn, I think, the better they are going to be able to contribute for the future of this country.
Africa has been independent for over 50 years. And one of the biggest challenges Africa has remained with is that their politics is in most cases determined by Western powers. That is what Mwalimu Nyerere called Uhuru wa Bendera, flag independence. Now, that's why we should, I would like the president to help us, because when the struggle was launched, and he even mentioned about bad governance, they wanted to remove bad governance. They wanted to remove oppression. They wanted to remove exclusion, so that they create a condition whereby we have sustainable democracy based on the idea of national sovereignty.
Everything being contextual. And democracy, as you may define it, not being just an event that happens one day and another day, and you have what you want, but a process. In my view, and maybe there are the arguments that I have heard, whether here or anywhere else, that, and over time, is also about, sometimes there are contradictions, even with the same people. Because democracy, again, like many other things, you're talking about people. You're talking about people's views, expressions, about different things. There are choices. And choices, if you can make a choice, it means you are free. You have the freedom. You have the freedom to make a choice. And if that choice you have made, and of course, it's about elections again.
Yes.
Elections, you are talking about, people are making choices, they are expressing themselves, they express themselves differently, but they always expect the outcome, which is an expression, in the end, the majority is to be respected. And majority expression doesn't take away the right of the other who did not even express the same as the majority.
Right.
That's really, if you are able to respect the choices of the majority, the numbers, and they are saying this is what we want, and at the same time preserve the rights and freedoms of one or the other who falls out of this expression, then the whole thing is complete. So, and I think in Rwanda, we made good progress in people being able to express themselves, to make their choices heard, and going along with those that the majority necessarily does not agree with. And sometimes I have had trivialization of this, but I don't think it is correct. For example, where does, the history we have, things we have inherited.
Right.
Among, as you know, even in the political system, beyond RPF, but even including RPF, we have people who, if we were to decide what to do with them by their record in history, they should probably be behind bars.
So why are they not behind bars, Mr. President?
It is that process of trying to bring the country together, right? Well, you know what I'm talking about. When you have undertaken the process of reconciliation, when you have forgiven people who actually had the responsibility in the genocide.
All right, that is the conversation there by our Rwanda correspondent Eugene Nangwe with President Paul Kagame. And we've listened to some of the views he has with regards to term limits for elected leaders, seeing as Rwandans are going to the polls on the 4th of August.